Landlords Log, rent date 3rd of October 2011. Today I'm going to talk about buy-to-let purchasing tips. It's one of the questions that I'm most often asked by new people getting into property is, what sort of property should I buy in my town? Well, there are 2,000 towns in the UK and another 50 cities, so I obviously can't understand them all, but what I can do is give you some tips on where to start. First thing I would do is go and talk to the local letting agents. Try and pick ones that are not estate agents, because they're only going to be interested in selling you a property, and the letting agents are going to be very keen to give you advice because they're going to want to try and attract your management business and lettings business going forwards, so they will tell you what's in demand in the area right now. Having said that, do also think to yourself about what the demand is going to be 20, 30 years time from now. Who are you going to be able to sell the property to at that point, which is when you might be looking to exit, or who are you going to be renting it to? So bear in mind we've got an ageing population. Even though we've got a growing population and rental demand is likely to increase and projected to increase massively, you've still got to think about the exit plan before you enter anything. We do start, as I said, with talking to the local letting agents and property managers. Another good one to talk to is the local students' union or the students' accommodation office. They'll give you some handy tips. They'll tell you where to buy. Bear in mind, if you're buying in a university town, students do go to the fountain of knowledge to drink, so it's really important that you stay around the bars and the places that the students are going to hang around. They don't want to be travelling miles to get to their properties. So it's a case of finding out what to buy and where to buy just from local contacts. You could also go to your Landlords Association and property networking events, but beware of property sources that are just going to be trying to sell you a cheap bargain. My advice to you is to sort the demand first and to fill the demand, rather than just buying a property and then trying to create demand. It's much easier just filling a demand that already exists. Good questions to ask are, what are the typical values of those properties where the demand exists? What are the rents going to be? What are the costs of running that property likely to be? I'm not just talking about the cost of a mortgage, that comes later. What we need to work out first is what sort of yields that you're going to get. The starting place for most people is, how much can I borrow and how much is the mortgage going to cost? That's not a good starting place. Starting with demand is the way to go with this. So how much is the property going to cost? What are the rents going to be? How much is it going to cost to let and manage it? Don't forget that properties need maintaining, so when you see that these properties that are being sold by property finders, they only tend to quote the cost of the mortgage as the only expense, but there are several others. You've also got to think, if you're buying a freehold, what are the ground rents and maintenance charges? You've also got to insure the property. Even if it's a leasehold, don't make the mistake of thinking, the freeholder insures it. You're going to still need landlord's liability insurance and possibly contents insurance to cover things like carpets, curtains and anything else that you put into the property. So all of these costs are going to mount up, and you're going to need to work out with all of this information what's going to give you your best return on capital invested and what level of work you actually want to put into these properties. Do you want to manage them yourself? Do you actually have the skill set to do that? Do you understand all the rules and regulations? It can be quite a steep learning curve, and I went through that, and it can be quite costly. So maybe think about finding a property manager to start off with, learning the ropes by speaking to other landlords and doing some networking, and then moving on from that point. If you'd like to look at the numbers and just crunch the numbers, because you're going to look at several different types of property, if you visit my website at property118, so that's property118.com, there's a number crunchers section there. It's completely free to use. It's been built based on my experience over 20 odd years as a landlord. I've been in the business since 1989, constantly producing new spreadsheets, but eventually I decided to invest a little bit into creating a program that gave me all of the facts and figures that I needed. So I just punch in the basic numbers and it tells me everything that I might not have thought of calculating myself. So feel free to use those. You do need to be a member, but it's completely free and you're not going to get sold to. It's not a sort of sourcing system for a lead generation from mortgage brokers or insurance brokers or anything like that. It's purely there to start off with, to help me crunch my own numbers, but then I thought, as I do, it might be worth sharing. Obviously it brings people to Property 118, and hopefully you will also use the directory of service providers whilst you're there, which is how we're looking to monetise the whole project in the longer term. Anyhow, thank you for joining me today. Hope you found this video useful. Lots more stuff like this coming this way. You can follow me on Twitter @IamALandlord, or you can subscribe to this feed on YouTube, or just simply sign up for the newsletters at property118.com. It's a big orange box, you can't miss it. It's on the left hand side when you're looking at the web page at property118.com. My message as always to all landlords: live long and prosper.